I want to start with a question. What would your life look like 6 months from today if you truly decided to give your best every single day? Not halfway, not when it's convenient, but a deliberate choice with full commitment. The truth is, most of us underestimate what we can do in half a year. We think transformation takes years, even decades. But 6 months of focused, intentional effort can completely reshape your habits, your mindset, and your future. 6 months is long enough to see real change and short enough that you can feel the urgency to begin right now. So what does a 6-month success plan look like? It's not about adding more to your plate. It's about choosing the right few things that will create the biggest shift. Clarity is the foundation of every transformation because without a defined destination, effort scatters in every direction and results appear only as fragments of progress rather than a cohesive journey. When you decide to transform your life in 6 months, the very first question is not how much effort you are willing to put in or how disciplined you can be. It is where exactly do you want to go? Most people think they know what they want, but when asked to describe it in detail, their answers are vague and uncertain. They may say they want to be successful, but what does that success actually look like? Does it mean a healthier body, stronger bank account, a better relationship with family, or a new career? Clarity demands specificity, because specificity provides direction and direction creates focus. Imagine standing at a crossroads without a map. You may walk tirelessly, but if you have no idea which path leads to your goal, all that effort may leave you exhausted, yet no closer to where you want to be. Clarity acts as the map, showing you not only where you want to go, but also the roads that may take you there. When you define your 6-month vision with precision, every decision you make aligns with it, and every action either moves you closer or pulls you away. With clarity, you have a filter for your choices, a way to say yes to opportunities that match your vision and no to distractions that consume time without serving your purpose. The process of gaining clarity begins with asking the right questions. What outcome do I want to see 6 months from now? Why does that outcome matter to me? How will I measure progress? When you answer these questions honestly, you create a vision that resonates with your core values rather than one shaped by external pressure or shallow comparisons. For example, if your goal is fitness, instead of saying, I want to get in shape, you might say, I want to lose 20 pounds, run a 10K without stopping, and feel confident in my energy levels every day. That level of detail makes the vision tangible, measurable, and inspiring. Another powerful aspect of clarity is that it energizes action. Ambiguity breeds procrastination. When the goal is unclear, the brain resists because it cannot easily define the next step. But when the vision is vivid, the next step becomes obvious and momentum builds naturally. If you clearly state that in 6 months you want to have saved a certain amount of money, you instantly know the actions: create a budget, cut unnecessary expenses, automate savings. The clearer the target, the sharper the focus of your daily behavior. Clarity also gives purpose to discipline. Imagine waking up early every morning to work on something undefined. Eventually, fatigue and doubt creep in because the sacrifice feels meaningless. But if you wake up with a clear picture of what 6 months from now looks like, healthier, stronger, wealthier, happier, the sacrifice transforms into investment. Clarity transforms routine into ritual because every action is tied to a larger vision that excites you. It is important to remember that clarity is not only about goals, but also about reasons. The vision must connect to your why. If you set a 6-month target without understanding why it matters, motivation will fade quickly. For instance, wanting to lose weight purely to look good for others may not sustain you when cravings hit or when workouts feel unbearable. But if the clarity is rooted in wanting more energy to play with your kids, wanting to live longer with vitality, or wanting to feel confident in your own skin, that deeper reason fuels persistence. Clarity without purpose is fragile, but clarity tied to meaning becomes unshakable. Visualization can strengthen clarity. When you vividly imagine the future you want to create, your mind begins to believe it is possible. Athletes do this before competitions. They see themselves crossing the finish line before they even begin the race. For your 6-month transformation, imagine how you will feel, what your day will look like, what others will notice about you. The more sensory details you attach to the vision, the more real it becomes and the more committed you feel to achieving it. Clarity is not just about writing down goals. It is about seeing, feeling, and believing them as if they already exist. Clarity also protects you from overwhelm. When the path ahead is undefined, every distraction feels urgent, and you scatter your energy across too many fronts. But when you know precisely where you are headed, you can prioritize. You realize not everything requires your attention, not every opportunity is worth pursuing, and not every demand on your time deserves a yes. This ability to focus not only accelerates progress, but also reduces stress, because you no longer live in the fog of uncertainty. Discipline is the bridge between the vision you create and the results you actually experience. It is the quiet force that turns dreams into habits and habits into achievements. While clarity tells you what you want, discipline is the engine that carries you there day after day. It is not glamorous. It is not always exciting, but it is the single most reliable factor in determining whether you will look back in 6 months, proud of your progress or disappointed by your excuses. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or living a rigid life without joy. It is about creating consistent patterns of action that serve your long-term vision rather than your short-term comfort. The truth is that motivation is fleeting. Some days you will wake up inspired, full of energy and determination. On those days, discipline feels effortless. But there will also be mornings when you feel tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. Those are the days when discipline matters most, because it carries you through the dips and valleys of your journey. Without discipline, your efforts become inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of transformation. Small lapses here and there may not feel significant, but over weeks and months, they accumulate, leaving you far behind the goals you set. Discipline ensures that progress continues even when enthusiasm fades. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is its compounding effect. Just as small investments grow into significant wealth over time, small daily actions create profound results when repeated consistently. Reading 10 pages a day may not feel impressive, but in 6 months you have absorbed the wisdom of several books. Saving a modest amount of money each week may feel insignificant, but in half a year you build a financial cushion that brings peace of mind. Exercising for 30 minutes daily may seem like a minor commitment, but the cumulative effect reshapes your body, energy, and confidence. Discipline is the art of trusting the process, knowing that consistency outperforms intensity when measured over time. Discipline also builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the belief that you are someone who follows through. Each act of discipline becomes a vote for the type of person you are becoming. If you commit to waking up early and actually do it, you reinforce the identity of a disciplined individual. Over 6 months, these small victories create an unshakable self-image, and that identity becomes the fuel for even greater achievements. Transformation does not come only from what you do, but also from who you start to believe you are. It is important to understand that discipline thrives on structure. Relying on willpower alone is a recipe for failure because willpower is limited and easily drained. Instead, design your environment to support your discipline. If your goal is to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nourishing food and remove temptations. If your goal is to write daily, set up a workspace free of distractions and schedule time that is non-negotiable. Structure reduces the number of choices you have to make and makes disciplined action the path of least resistance. By designing your surroundings with intention, you make success almost automatic. Discipline also requires a relationship with discomfort. Growth always lives outside your comfort zone, and discipline is the practice of choosing long-term benefit over short-term ease. The first few weeks of waking up earlier, resisting cravings, or pushing through workouts may feel uncomfortable, but over time that discomfort transforms into strength. The very actions that once felt difficult become normal, even natural, because discipline rewires your habits. 6 months of disciplined discomfort leads to a life that feels easier because you have built resilience and removed the weight of inconsistency. Another overlooked aspect of discipline is that it creates freedom. Many people view discipline as restrictive, as though it cages you into routines. In reality, discipline liberates you from chaos. Without discipline, you are controlled by impulses, distractions, and external pressures. With discipline, you create stability and predictability, freeing your mind to focus on what truly matters. Financial discipline gives you the freedom to make choices without fear of debt. Health discipline gives you the freedom to live energetically without being held back by fatigue or illness. Discipline is not the loss of freedom, it is the foundation of it. Accountability and discipline are also connected. When you know that someone will ask about your progress, discipline becomes easier. But even without external accountability, cultivating self-discipline is possible by tracking your progress and celebrating small wins. Keeping a journal, using a habit tracker, or simply checking off tasks daily creates a sense of momentum that fuels further action. Discipline grows stronger when it is visible, when you can see the streak of days you have kept your promise alive. At its core, discipline is an act of self-respect. It is the declaration that your goals matter, that your future matters, and that you are worthy of the effort it takes to create the life you want. 6 months of discipline may not always feel dramatic in the moment, but when you look back, the difference will be undeniable. You will see the accumulated weight of choices, the consistency that built momentum, and the unwavering commitment that transformed intention into reality. Accountability is the anchor that keeps your goals from drifting away when distractions, fatigue, or self-doubt threaten to pull you off course. It is the mechanism that transforms intentions into action, because when you know someone else is watching, supporting, or expecting progress, you are far less likely to let excuses take over. 6 months of consistent accountability can make the difference between an abandoned plan and a life that looks and feels transformed. While discipline is the internal driver, accountability is the external structure that reinforces it, creating a powerful combination that sustains growth even through difficulty. At its core, accountability is about responsibility, but not in the sense of carrying a burden. It is about owning your choices and committing to results, not just effort. Too often, people stop at good intentions. They talk about what they will do, they dream about outcomes, but without accountability, those promises remain in the air. Accountability is the bridge that forces you to align words with actions. When you declare your goal to someone else, you raise the stakes. It is no longer a silent wish. It becomes a commitment, and commitments carry weight. One of the most effective forms of accountability is having an accountability partner, someone who shares the journey or at least monitors your progress. This could be a friend, a mentor, a coach, or even a community. The role of this person is not to criticize you when you fall short, but to remind you of what you said mattered to you. Sometimes, just knowing that someone will ask how your week went is enough to keep you consistent. Imagine setting a goal to exercise 5 times a week. If no one else knows, skipping a workout feels inconsequential. But if you know you will report to a friend every Sunday, suddenly skipping feels heavier, because it is not just letting yourself down, it is breaking your word to someone else. Accountability also works when you create public commitments. Declaring your 6-month goal openly, whether to family, colleagues, or on a platform where others can witness your journey, increases your sense of responsibility. Humans are wired to seek social consistency. We want to be seen as reliable and trustworthy. By making your vision visible, you align your desire for integrity with your actions. That alignment strengthens your follow-through and gives your journey a layer of significance beyond yourself. But accountability is not only about external forces. True accountability also requires looking in the mirror and asking hard questions. Did I do what I said I would do today? If not, why? What excuse am I using? Am I honoring the commitment I made to myself? This level of self-honesty is difficult because it strips away the comforting stories we tell ourselves. Yet, 6 months of practicing self-accountability through journaling, reflection, and tracking creates unshakable integrity. You begin to see yourself as someone who does not need outside pressure to perform, someone who can be trusted with their own word. Technology can also support accountability. Habit trackers, apps, and progress logs provide clear evidence of whether you are on track. Numbers do not lie. If you commit to saving money, tracking your account weekly exposes whether your behavior matches your intentions. If you commit to daily writing, word counts show progress or lack thereof. This kind of measurable accountability eliminates ambiguity and gives you feedback that is hard to ignore. In 6 months, looking back at those records becomes both motivating and rewarding because you see the visible story of your consistency. Accountability is most powerful when it blends encouragement with pressure. Too much pressure and it feels suffocating. Too little and it becomes meaningless. The balance comes from choosing the right people and systems to hold you accountable. A mentor who believes in you but also challenges you to rise higher. A friend who supports you but does not tolerate excuses. A community that celebrates wins but also reminds you of the commitment you made. These relationships create an environment where progress becomes the norm, and excuses are gently but firmly dismantled. The beauty of accountability is that it multiplies results. When you are accountable, you act not only for yourself but also for the trust others place in you. This amplifies your effort, because your success is no longer isolated. It ripples outward. If you commit to improving your health and others witness your dedication, they may feel inspired to begin their own journey. If you commit to financial discipline and share your progress, those around you may follow your example. Accountability creates a cycle of shared growth, where your consistency empowers others to rise with you. Ultimately, accountability is about integrity. It is living in alignment with your values and commitments, refusing to let excuses dilute your word. In 6 months, the presence or absence of accountability can determine whether your goals remain abstract wishes or become tangible achievements. By inviting others into your journey, by holding yourself to honest standards, and by measuring progress with clarity, you create an environment where transformation is not only possible but inevitable. Adaptability is the quality that allows your 6-month success plan to survive the unpredictable nature of life. No matter how clear your goals are, no matter how disciplined or accountable you remain, unexpected challenges will arrive. A project at work may demand longer hours than expected. A family responsibility may suddenly appear. Your own energy may fluctuate in ways you did not anticipate. The truth is that no plan ever unfolds exactly as designed, but that does not mean success is out of reach. It simply means the path to get there may look different than you imagined. Adaptability is not about abandoning your vision, but about adjusting the route so that you still arrive at the destination. When people set goals, they often imagine a straight line from start to finish. In reality, progress looks more like a winding road full of turns, setbacks, and detours. Those who succeed are not the ones who avoid obstacles, but the ones who learn to move around them without losing sight of where they are going. Adaptability is that skill, the willingness to change strategy while holding firm to purpose. In 6 months, the ability to adapt will not only help you overcome inevitable hurdles, but will also teach you resilience, a strength that lasts beyond any single plan. Adaptability begins with mindset. If you view challenges as signs that your plan is failing, you will quickly become discouraged. But if you see challenges as opportunities to refine your approach, you stay empowered. For instance, suppose you set a goal to exercise 5 mornings a week, but discover that early mornings leave you too exhausted. Instead of giving up on the goal, adaptability allows you to shift the schedule, perhaps exercising in the evenings or during lunch breaks. The vision of being healthier remains the same, but the strategy evolves. This mindset shift is crucial because it reminds you that progress is flexible, not fragile. Adaptability also requires humility. It means admitting that your first idea may not be the best one, that your assumptions may not hold true, and that you do not need to cling to a method just because it is familiar. Many people sabotage their own success by stubbornly holding on to routines that no longer work. For example, if you decide to save money by cutting all leisure expenses but find yourself rebelling against the restriction, adaptability allows you to revise the strategy, perhaps keeping one affordable leisure activity while cutting in other areas. By humbling yourself enough to admit what is not working, you keep your plan alive rather than letting rigidity destroy it. Another dimension of adaptability is creativity. When obstacles appear, those who are adaptable look for alternative solutions rather than focusing only on what went wrong. If your plan to grow professionally includes attending in-person workshops but circumstances prevent travel, you might pivot to online courses, networking groups, or mentorship opportunities. The ability to generate alternatives keeps momentum alive. 6 months of cultivating this flexibility sharpens not only your resourcefulness but also your confidence, because you begin to trust yourself to find a way forward regardless of circumstances. Adaptability also means being prepared to learn continuously. Every plan reveals new information once you begin. You may discover strengths you did not know you had, or weaknesses you had overlooked. Adaptable people treat these discoveries as data to refine their approach. They ask themselves what worked, what did not, and what can be adjusted. Over time, this cycle of testing, learning, and adjusting accelerates progress. Instead of being stuck in a plan that does not fit, you are constantly shaping your strategy to match reality, making your 6-month journey not only more effective but also more sustainable. It is also important to remember that adaptability protects you from discouragement. Many people abandon their goals not because they lack ability, but because they believe a setback means total failure. Adaptability reframes setbacks as part of the process. Missing a week of workouts does not mean you are no longer committed to health. Struggling to stick to a budget 1 month does not erase financial discipline. Adaptability says, I can adjust, I can start again, I can find another way. This resilience keeps you moving forward when others quit. Adaptability is not about lowering your standards or abandoning your vision. It is about being flexible with the methods while staying faithful to the outcome. In 6 months, circumstances will shift, unexpected events will occur, and your initial plan may not fit perfectly anymore. But if you embrace adaptability, you will remain steady in purpose and fluid in strategy. That balance creates unstoppable progress, because no matter how the road twists, you keep moving toward the destination you have chosen. Reflection is the practice that turns experience into wisdom and effort into growth. Without reflection, 6 months of work may pass by with little awareness of what truly changed or why certain results happened. With reflection, every step, every challenge, every small victory becomes a teacher. Reflection is not just looking back at what you did, it is the process of analyzing your actions, your mindset, and your outcomes to understand yourself better and make smarter choices moving forward. It is the habit of pausing to ask what worked, what did not, and what could be improved. In a 6-month transformation journey, reflection ensures that progress is not accidental but intentional because you are constantly learning from the process. When people set goals, they often focus only on action, believing that the more they do, the more they achieve. While action is critical, action without reflection can lead to wasted effort. You might work hard at something that does not truly serve your vision or repeat mistakes without realizing it. Reflection helps you evaluate whether your actions are aligned with your goals. For example, if your goal is better health, reflection might show you that although you exercise regularly, poor sleep habits are undermining your progress. Without taking time to step back and notice this, you might continue to struggle despite all your effort. Reflection shines a light on blind spots, helping you adjust before too much time is lost. Reflection also deepens clarity. As you move through your 6-month journey, your initial goals may evolve because you learn more about what truly matters to you. Maybe you set a goal of earning more money, but through reflection, you realize what you really want is freedom of time with your family. That insight allows you to refine your actions to align with the deeper purpose. Reflection connects you with your why, reminding you not just of what you are doing, but of why it matters. When the journey feels difficult, revisiting this deeper meaning through reflection rekindles motivation. Another benefit of reflection is that it celebrates progress. Many people are quick to notice their shortcomings, but slow to acknowledge how far they have come. 6 months of consistent effort can bring tremendous change, but without reflection, you may overlook the victories because you are always chasing the next milestone. Reflection allows you to pause and appreciate the growth that has already occurred. Recognizing progress builds confidence and creates positive reinforcement, which fuels even greater consistency. When you reflect and realize you are stronger, wiser, or more disciplined than before, it encourages you to keep moving forward. Reflection is also a form of accountability to yourself. While external accountability relies on others, reflection demands that you face your own truth. It asks questions like, did I follow through on what I said I would do? Am I avoiding responsibilities? Or am I giving my best effort? This honest dialogue with yourself removes the excuses and forces clarity about your behavior. Journaling is a powerful tool for this kind of self-accountability. Writing down daily or weekly reflections captures your thoughts, highlights patterns, and provides a record of your growth. Looking back at earlier entries after 6 months reveals just how much you have changed. Moreover, reflection strengthens adaptability. When you review your progress, you gather data on what strategies worked and which ones did not. That knowledge makes it easier to adjust your approach intelligently instead of guessing. For instance, if you reflect and notice that late-night study sessions left you too exhausted to focus the next day, you can adapt by moving study time to the morning. Without reflection, you might have continued the same ineffective routine. With reflection, you become a more intentional problem solver, using insight rather than chance to guide your choices. Reflection also teaches resilience. Every journey includes setbacks. And without reflection, setbacks can feel like failures. But when you reflect on them, you see the lessons hidden within. A failed attempt at starting a business teaches you about customer needs. A missed fitness goal teaches you about time management. Reflection reframes mistakes as part of the process, making you stronger instead of discouraged. Over 6 months, this perspective creates a mindset where challenges are not threats, but opportunities to learn and grow. Reflection does not require hours of analysis. Even 5 to 10 minutes at the end of each day can make a difference. Asking yourself simple questions like, what did I accomplish today? What challenged me, and what will I do differently tomorrow, can create continuous improvement. Over time, these small moments of reflection compound into profound self-awareness. You begin to see patterns in your behavior, understand your triggers, and identify what truly drives results. That awareness is a powerful asset because self-awareness is the starting point for lasting transformation. In the end, reflection turns your 6-month plan into more than just a checklist of tasks. It transforms it into a journey of self-discovery. By pausing to learn from your experiences, by celebrating progress, by adjusting with wisdom, you make sure that every step counts. 6 months of reflection ensures that you do not just reach your goals, but also grow into a person capable of sustaining and expanding those achievements.